Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to jump in. I'm going to give it a moment or two. We're going to jump in and we're talking about a few specifics. I'm talking about your goals and your lead generation options that are going to get you to those goals. The reason today is important is because coming very soon on the 20th and then again on the 25th, simply for geographic purposes, is a business planning clinic. Now, this is put on by Tom Martin, and he is flat out certified at doing this. These are live training events that we're doing in the Florida market simply because Tom's in Florida. Hang tight, though. We're also going to do a live Zoom event after we're done with the Florida events, because there's going to be more people that need to be involved in this. And this is your business planning for legitimately for 2023. And here's a little secret. It started 4 days ago. Okay. October 1st is the first day of 2023's first quarter. And if you have any challenges on that, I want you to consider that everything in real estate is about momentum. And why I say that is that if you're in momentum right now, we don't really see that. What you do now, we won't see results for about 90 days. So I challenge everybody to consider that most people are like, it's getting close to the holidays. And where is he? Joey, if you're on here, I don't know if Joey's on here or not Joey's our partner up in Rhode Island. So if you have anybody up in Rhode Island, Joey's your guy. But Thursday after Thanksgiving, actually Friday morning after Thanksgiving, I will once again be doing how to make the perfect Thanksgiving sandwich. Okay, that's a live event. It's about a 5-minute training event. It includes turkey and stuffing and cranberries and some other things I can't discuss, as well as copious amounts of Bailey's and Kahlua in coffee. Okay, and that is a Friday, the day after Thanksgiving event. I know you all are excited about that. I'll let you know more about it. But the one that's real important is going to be this business planning. And it's the 20th here in Central Florida, where Tom is located. The 25th in South Florida. The locations will be put out. They're in the training calendar, but we're definitely going to be touching on those hard and heavy. And it's about planning for your 2023. The reason this is so mission critical is that if you don't have a plan, there's a very good probability you're not going to achieve what would be your goals. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what your goals are. We're going to figure out a way to set them. I've got a tool that'll help you create very quickly what your goals look like. And more importantly, I'm going to hopefully help you dive into where does your business come from. Now, this isn't a long class today. Sorry, I got to do this. Pierre says to everyone, and Pierre is the gentleman who can be named later with the Pierre on there. Hell no, not tofu turkey, dude. Never. Ever. It may be turducken, but not tofu for sure. That's just sacrilege. All right. So we're going to dive into planning figuring out what our goals are and then figuring out where our business comes from. Now, this is important for everybody here. Here's kind of the mission for us all, myself included. There are some activities that you're doing, whether you're doing them at a high level or you're not doing them at what you would perceive to yourself to be a really high level, where a vast majority of your business comes from. I think we can all identify that we're in a challenging market. It is getting a little more challenging with the interest rates going up. Institutional buyers are everywhere buying properties. I'm in the state of Florida, so we now have an added burden. God bless all of you that are suffering. We know you're out there. We know you're hurting. It was a really challenging week or so. There's an entire swath of South Florida that basically doesn't exist at this point. We're going to need to work harder to achieve the same goals that we were able to achieve this year. And here's why I say that. And some of you may actually already recognize this, just so that we're fully grounded. We know where we're at. The beginning of the year was absolutely crazy. You could stick a sign in the yard, the home would sell instantly. It'd sell at multiple offers. That's not happening anymore. I've noticed my personal business, that my real estate business, my wife and I still sell homes. We've noticed our business drop off pretty quickly in the last couple of months, last month or so. And I expect that there's a good chance you've probably been experiencing this as well. That's okay. This is an opportunity when the market changes, as we've experienced, it's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for professionalism. It's an opportunity for you to capture more market share. And that seems almost counterintuitive. You're like, wait a second, if it's slowing down, how am I going to capture more market share? Here's how. If you know what your goals are and you know where you want to be, and you know what's brought you to the dance already, which is usually, and we're going to cover that and kind of dive into it, there's usually 2, maybe 3 areas that get the majority of your attention, because that's where majority of your business comes from. If we're going to refocus, and here's an ugly little secret, everybody's going to have to work harder. It's true. We all have to work a little bit harder because the market is not as easy. However, the rewards will be great. You'll take on market share. Now, I want you to consider this. If you stayed the same in your business, you would be actually picking up market share. You would be selling proportionately more than the most. Liz put in there, not everyone will work harder and they'll be out of that's actually 100% correct. Liz, if you're on, I can't see you. Can you unmute? I wanted to ask, just bounce a question or 2 off of you on that one. If you're able to, Liz.
Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
So Liz, you and I have, we've seen this a little bit, but and I think we know this to be true. What you're saying is that there's going to be a lot of people that aren't willing to put in the work. And what can we possibly expect to happen with our real estate agent numbers over the next year in our state? We're in Florida. In Florida, it's September when you renew your license. What do you think is going to happen? People renewing their license?
Yeah, they're not going to renew their license, guys. They're not going to pay. They're not going to pay their fees. There's just a lot going on, guys. Like, people aren't going to do what needs to be done in order to succeed and thrive in this business. So, if I were you, just get back to the basics, stick with it, and you will be just fine.
Yep, right on. So thank you, Liz, very much. I appreciate that. Anytime you have something to say, I love to hear it. Trish put something in there that I definitely want to touch on. But Trish, let me get through a little bit of the goal setting. And then if you would, and by the way, Trish is a licensed and certifiable for sure, but she's also a licensed real estate instructor, a massively talented teacher of agents for sure. So I love it when Trisha jumps in. But let me get through the goal setting part first. And then Trisha, we're going to come back to it, but you're going to have to interrupt me because you know me, I'll forget it. And I don't want to. And Pierre jumped in with something else too. So I'm going to jump through the talking points of the chat, excuse me, in just a moment or two. I want to get into goal setting for everybody here. I want to give you guys a tool that we can use. Joe, I'm going to put this I'm going to email this to you, and then I'd like to have you drop it in the chat if you put it in, because I'm not going to be able to do that. Hang tight, folks, because I do want to share this with Joe real quick. Joe, save this for me in the shared drive and then drop a link in for me.
It needs to come to Tiffany. I kicked Joe out, redelegated some stuff. He's working on other things for us behind the scenes.
All right, I just sent it over to you, Tiffany. If you wouldn't mind, drop this in so everybody has a copy of it and they can work with it. Folks, here's what we're going to be taking a look at. This is the goal sheet that I've worked on. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. We actually, if anybody they want to do their goals, this would be ideal right now to have somebody live do it. If you're comfortable talking about what your goals should look like for 2023, just raise your hand. I'll give you a call. What I'm looking for is, what'd you do this year? What's your goal for next year? And where are your lead generation coming from? So is anybody comfortable having a conversation about their personal goals? We can work them together. Remember, this is a safe spot. We're all about loving on people. Ruth, thank you. You're the first one up. God bless you. Ruth, would you mind unmuting your microphone for us?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for jumping in and volunteering. You're awesome. I appreciate that greatly. All right, Ruth. So what we've got, can you all see the goal sheet up there? Be good? Yes. Just somebody give me a nod. All right. Thanks, Tiff. I appreciate that. What is your income goal, Ruth? Now, this is your gross income. Wow, I can't even speak. What is your income goal for 2023? 100,000. Great. Average sale price?
I would say about 300 to 250, 300.
How about if we do 275? We'll kind of split the difference. Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Great. And average commission, you okay with 2.5%?
Yeah.
Okay. So to reach that goal, I think this is right, my formula may actually be wrong. I'm looking at this and I think it is, which is a shame. And I'll get this formula. Tiffany, don't post this yet because I'm going to have to rework this real quick. What we're looking for is how many units are needed, and the average commission on that will break down. I'll go through it so that this works. I'm sorry, I did work with the other number, but when I changed it, that should have gone up and not down. So I've got to readjust that. More important than anything, I can tell us right now, well, actually, I'm going to do the numbers real quick. So we need to sell 14 homes at that commission price, or at the average commission. With this number would need to be 14. Again, I'll adjust that. How many homes have you sold this year?
Give me a second.
Okay, and you can guess. You don't have to be exact on that. Just a ballpark would be fine.
I would say 15.
15. Okay, great. So we're actually kind of saying, all right, we're going to kind of stay the same. So if the current year's is 15 on there, that's terrific. We're just going to really stay the same, or really kind of focus on where we're coming from. Now, what lead generations, what do you use for lead generation? Or more importantly, where does your main sources of business come from? 2 or maybe 3 different areas. What would you say they are?
I have Up City.
Okay. Go ahead.
Referrals. Referrals meaning like referrals from previous transactions.
Right, your database, the people that already know you.
Okay,
and love
database.
You. Excellent.
Sold.com.
And I'm sorry, sold.com?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
And Zillow.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to group these together and call those internet leads, which would be OpCity, sold.com, and Zillow. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so what percentage comes of your total business of the 15 you've sold? What percentage of those come from internet leads, what we just spoke of?
I would say about 75%.
Terrific. And from your database?
25.
Okay, great. So that's the vast majority. You'll notice that this actually formulates it for you if there's something else. And I usually suggest that there's no more than 2 or 3 areas. So most of your business comes from your internet leads. Those are leads where you're paying a percentage and a percentage goes away. You have to contribute back or compensate for it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But your referrals, those are 100% free, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you working your referrals at a very high level?
Not as I should be.
Okay. Now, currently, it's only 25% of your business. What would your business look like if we kept this exactly the same? Because there's not much to do. This is all follow-up on your internet leads, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what if we focus some time and energy on really working on your referrals? If we could get this up to an increase of maybe, twice as many referrals coming in, do you see how this would be the area where you can really dramatically impact, and it's going to bottom line impact you huge if we focused on that? Make sense?
Yeah. I mean, referrals, my database has to be worked on 100% more than.
Okay. Terrific. And you're awesome for helping me with that one. So stick around for a second. I'm going to turn off the share real quick.
Okay.
Folks, what we're able to do with Ruth, again, thank you very, very much. That was very cool of you to be the volunteer on this one. Guys, what we're going to do, what I want you to do is to say, as Ruth just did, where does my business come from? And what are my goals? And what do I need to do? And if your goals are to stay the same, that's not a bad thing. That's actually picking up market share. But what we don't know most of the time is, where do we focus our energies? Now, the business planning clinic that's coming up that everybody should be attending, holy smoke, everybody should be attending this. All right, we're doing it, as I said, in 2 different locations, and then we're going to do a live one for everybody across the country. And we're doing that simply because, well, we can't have Tom travel all over the country. You must know your business to fully immerse yourself in this class, and then to create a business plan for your growth and your continued success in the future. Now, Ruth, looking at that, as we just went through this, we know where most of our business comes from, and those are purchase leads, 35 or 45% referrals, or a flat fee cost. Is that fair? I think I still got her on there.
Yeah.
Okay. If we could increase our referral business, that took up a larger portion, we'd actually be picking up massive amounts of ground because our referral business doesn't have a 35% expense on it. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you would allow me to coach you, I would obviously coach you on that, but I don't think I need to. You probably gone, holy crap, that makes total sense to me. I would invest 30 minutes a day. This is just me. I would invest 30 minutes a day on my schedule to working on my referral business, working on the systems and the tools, because everything in business must be systematized. Here's a great example of that. Ruth, if you're still here, I'm going to ask you a question. If a lead comes in from Op City, do you have action plans that absolutely must go into place? The first one being, if you don't answer the damn phone, you're not going to get the lead, right?
Yeah, if you don't answer the phone or you don't click the button, then you're not going to get the lead.
So you actually have a system. Whether we call it that or not, there is a system that occurs no matter what every time. And this is important because if you're going to be lead generating, or if you're going to be improving one of your lead generation business aspects, like the referral, there must be a system. Without it, we are shooting from the hips. Without it, we don't have a goal and an action plan at which to support it. I'm going to advise you, Ruth, that for you, I would strongly, strongly encourage you to say, okay, what am I going to work on my referral business? How am I going to constantly move the needle and improve it? And I will challenge you that if you do that, if you focus your energies on that, Ruth, that in a year from now, you're going to find that your referral business is at least 50% of your business. And it's going to be where you spend almost all your energy because these people already love you, know you, like you, and trust you. You're not fighting with people that are, unfortunately, part of the lead generation process. Doesn't mean you stop doing it. Please don't misunderstand me. For sure, keep up your internet leads, and that's a group of a lot of things. And congratulations on great success. I believe you can improve it. Now you know where the opportunity is. And for everybody else watching it, that's the real goal today. We talk about your goal. How many homes do you need to sell to break even, be the same? And more importantly, where does it come from currently? At this point, you can focus on what do you need to be doing to continue improving whatever area you decide to focus on. And you may actually say, hey, I've got really 3 lead generation sources. That's really maximum. You can only put down 3. Okay, I'm going to need to explain this. The reason you can only have 3 is if you have more than 3, and understand with Ruth, we kind of grouped the internet leads together. That's Zillow, Op City, and another one that I'm not familiar with, but they're working. So, but those are internet-based leads. Those are leads that are they're coming to her. She's done the application. She's managing those at a high level. Y'all have business coming in as well. Some of you may be prospecting based. Some of you may be door knocking based. And I hope you are. I really, really do. Some of you can call it for sale by owners, expires, withdrawals. Some of you doing open houses. That's totally cool. How much does that contribute to your business? What percentage? And if you've got more than 3 areas that are really the vast majority, I would strongly encourage you, because you have to put percentages in there, put in the percentage of where your business truly comes from. You're going to find that of those 3, only 2 of them are the vast majority, over 50%. In fact, probably over 75%. That last one doesn't get very much time or attention from you. The ones that and it'll jump out. You'll be like, oh my God, this is where I need to be. So for anybody else, raise your hand if this applies to you. In thinking about your business, and I'm going to ask you some questions. I promise I won't bury you, but raise your hand, whoever raised their hand first. In thinking about your business, is there an area where your business is coming from that you're not really giving it the attention it should? And if you did, it would, chances are, explode with more business results. Does anybody feel they've got that kind of going on? Somebody just raise their hand. Alethea, hey Alethea, how are you? You're my victim today, if you don't mind. Does that apply to you, Alethea?
I'm gonna say yes, because I am a frequent coffee drinker. Every morning I have like a routine when I go take my kids, and I've had my cards in there. There's no cards. Like every week, I always have to fill back 6 or 7 cards in that front area by the cash register. But long story short, the owner of the gas station, mind you, I've been living here for about 2 or 3 years. He actually has me looking for multifamily properties and another gas station. I don't even know anything about commercial. But a few of his other employees are also looking. So I just feel like I'm not putting enough something to make sure that those relationships are strong, that I'm actually like following up and producing something for them, because I'm really good at doing my open houses and booking those for every weekend and having those in a system. But I feel like I'm pretty good at just like regular conversation with these people that I see every day, and I'm not doing something. So that's why I even said something.
Okay. So how much business comes from what you've just described? If you had to reference it out, and we're not going to hold you to hard numbers, but how much of your business comes from the activities you just talked about?
So technically I haven't closed anything from anybody at the gas station, okay, but I have 4 people, like 4 complete contacts. One that's looking at new construction, the owner who's looking for the multifamily and gas stations. And then his son works there and he's looking for property as well. So, I mean, nothing that I've closed. I've had some search alerts going. I think I need to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe. I don't know. I feel like maybe with my Op City and referrals that I've gotten from other agents, it's a system, kind of like you said, right? So like I know exactly where I'm at and what I need to do with their search alert or scheduling them, for a consultation. And for some ungodly reason, it's just, Trisha, I see you. I'm definitely going to message you. Thank you.
So I have to throw this out there. And this is just me, Alethea, but I'm thinking to myself, with the relationships you've created at a gas station by dropping off coffee station, by dropping off cards, I'm thinking you need to get out and meet more people, because your personality is obviously working for your benefit. You obviously have that skill set. And if that were something that were more purposeful, I expect that you're currently working with 4 people from there. I would expect, okay, and I wouldn't just say, okay, putting it in coffee shops, because you're going to be jacked up on caffeine if you had to travel to all those coffee shops. But what I would suggest, though, and this goes to everybody, if you find that you're that same person where you have this ability to bond and connect with people, how can you systematically and with purpose focus on your outgoing skill set, which is relationships? You've proven that, I think, Alethea, and that's I would spend my time and energy on there, and that's what I would be purposeful on. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you,
I really
appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to know where your business is right now. And I had a message from somebody. I love it there. And Monica, thank you very much. She's like, I'm brand new. I don't have a reference point. That's totally cool. Now, real quickly, this is from Monica directly. Monica, in the GPS Jumpstart checklist, there is an entire section for brand new agents about how to determine what kind of lead generation is best for you. Now, we've taught some classes on this, and there's some things in there. I'm going to share it with everybody in just a couple seconds, because I'd like you to know where this is. I think it's important. If you're not 100% sure what you want to do for lead generating, probably the first thing is, okay, well, what the heck are my options? That logically works for me. If somebody's not going to tell me, I won't know. So what I've done, and it's available for everybody here, inside of gpsglobalpartners.com under the links section up here, you can scroll on down. There's a lead generation menu and an overview of different lead generation options. Now, strongly encourage everybody, I strongly encourage everybody to have a very good idea of where their business comes from, or in this case, Monica, who just jumped off of, unfortunately, Monica would need to know what she wants to do. What's her passion? I go back to this because it's my authentic story. When I got started in real estate, I didn't have an option. I was not really given a choice. I was a general manager of a high-end restaurant. I've been running them for years. and was leaving about a $75,000 salary, plus bonus, plus health, plus benefits, plus everything else. My wife wasn't working. I had a brand new baby mortgage. I had an infant son and a 2-year-old son. And I had to leave because, well, I don't want to mention Dave Jenkins' name because that would be inappropriate. Dave Jenkins, I'm not going to mention Dave Jenkins' name. He was the vice president of the company, and he was hitting on, as a 65-year-old man, hitting on my 18-year-old servers. Again, I'm not going to mention Dave Jenkins' name. So if anybody sees Dave Jenkins, you could tell Dave Jenkins that George didn't mention his name, you slimy son of a bitch. So anyway, I ended up quitting. Sorry, was that too much? Maybe a little bit too much?
I love it, George. Call it out.
Anyway, so I called up Human Resource. I said, this isn't going to work. They said, we'll call you back in a couple of days. And I called him back 2 or 3 days later. I did my own research. This is the third time. I was the fourth. The third time he's already had complaints. I'm like, we got no options. I'm quitting. And there's nothing you can do about it. I won't work for the guy. About half the restaurant left as well, which is not my intention. I just couldn't work for him. Bottom line is I didn't have an option. And this is where I'm going. And I just, again, didn't want to mention Dave Jenkins' scumbag's name. Wasn't going to do it. I didn't have a choice. And I said, I need to make some money. I need to be successful. And I talked to the gentleman who was coaching me. He was the best real estate agent in East Orlando, hence the reason I worked for him. I told him, I'm going to work for you for 1 year. You can take any amount of money you want. I don't really care. He didn't give me leads. He just helped mentor me in that first year. Y'all don't have to pay anybody to do it. We're going to do that for you for free. And he said, well, why don't you call for sale by owners? I said, why? And he explained through it. And he said, well, that makes sense. And my goal was not what felt best. My goal was, I don't have a choice. I need to be successful. I was very clear on what I needed to do. It took me a couple of weeks to really figure it out. You've heard stories of Tom Martin and I all sitting there literally side by side prospecting in 2 separate rooms, coming out for a quick sugar fix with a donut and right back into these rooms. I didn't like it. Truthfully, I don't like calling for sale by owners. I don't like the fact that my schedule started at 5 in the morning and I was on the phone at 7:50 until 9. And then I took a 10-minute break, which means I had 2 cigarettes. Back then I smoked. Don't smoke if you do. Quit if you can. Vape, whatever, but get off of it. 9:10 to 10, I was back on the phone. 10:05 to 11 on the phone again. 3.5 days a week. I say that because I tried to find excuses for not doing it, but I didn't have an option. I sold 26 homes my first year. That was 2002, 2003. For some of you that are old enough to remember, that was the hottest real estate we've ever had until this market just changed. The reason I bring this up is not because, look at George, that's great. I didn't have a choice. Some of you don't have a choice. And if you don't have a choice, get very clear on what you must do, because this is a job that's going to pay you well. But it won't pay you well if you don't have discipline. And the biggest discipline I can encourage people to have is put yourself in a position where you are financially kind of screwed. You'll do whatever is necessary. Now, here's the secret. And Will, I'm going to get to you in 2 seconds. I promise, brother. I got you just a second. Here's the ugly little truth. I didn't like what I did, but I liked the results. I liked the fact that I was closing properties. And what I did more than anything is I focused on my skills. I focused on what I absolutely had to know to do and the systems I needed to have to make sure that I could do it at a very high level. And all of that worked only because I put the time in doing what I didn't really want to do. So I have the freedom to do what other people didn't. I'll let you guys in on a little secret. In 2005, I almost bought an airplane. This from a guy who was literally, I didn't have any savings. We had maybe a month and a half. I didn't have a choice. If you don't have a choice, be very clear on what you're going to do. And if you have a goal, we talked about that goal sheet, which doesn't work very well, but you can figure the math out. I wanted a more example than anything else. If you know what you want, finding a way to get there is not hard. Knowing what you want is the big challenge. And once you pass that, once you know what you want and your goals, the next challenge, and the one that's really kind of a tough one, is assuring that you are set up and surrounded with your skills, with your environment, with your support group, with your partners to accomplish the goal you put your mind to. I had to make phone calls 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, which was 3.5 days a week, because the goal wasn't flexible. And the days I didn't do it, the days I didn't do what I was supposed to do, I felt like crap. I really did. And the days I did, even if I didn't get a win, and there were days I didn't want to win, I was just trying to get my contacts up so I could talk to my coach and say, listen, I talked to 30 people. I wanted them to hang up on me. Where's your business come from? You have to know this for business planning. How much of your business comes from a specific technique that you're using? And some of you, you don't know this. You're freaking good at this. You just haven't let it sink into your head that you can do it at a really high level. Perhaps you're just not giving it the focus it needs. If you do, the sky's the limit. And here's the part that's really cool. Pay close attention to this. Once you get to that point where you're like, all right, I just got to do this, and you start practicing your scripts, this is what happened in my world. You start getting pretty good at this. You have a system in place for the 8 visits you're going to make for the for sale by owners you actually get to go visit. They start listing with you. You start creating relationships. It starts becoming fun. Some of you are terrified of the idea of going face to face with somebody. Oh my God, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Of course you don't. Practice it on your spouse. They have to listen to you. They have to. And it's okay if you screw up with them. Know your goals. Know where your business is coming from. Now you know where to focus. Business Planning Clinic becomes much clearer, and your success is much more assured. Some of you, 2 seconds, Will. Some of you are going to heed what I say and say, you know what? The old man's not nuts. He may have an idea that's pretty spot on. And I challenge everybody to consider, if I'm standing behind you, me standing behind you, with or without a war stick that's full of spikes that might hit you in the head if you screw up, are you going to focus at the level that you have potential to? Chances are you will, because I'm right there and I'm standing behind you. If you got that, I'll take care of it. You can do this. You just need clarity. With clarity comes purpose. Will, you've had your hand up. I appreciate that very much. Good to see you, my friend. Shoot, yeah, you have the floor.
You too. Hey, you know, George, I know you're going to get to this eventually. It's probably your next point, but you know, you once you focus in on what you're going to do, you got to do it consistently. And I mean, I know you say that to us all the time, but even in Alethia's example, she said, I have a routine that I do when I go get coffee, when I'm dropping off my kids. And that routine, doing it every day, replenishing the cards, doing that consistently is what has led to her relationships now that are going to bring her business. And whenever I look at, oh man, I don't have as much business as I should, I've been busy doing this transaction or that, I look at, what am I doing consistently? Nothing. That's why I don't have business. I'm doing a little bit of this here, a little bit of this there, and that just doesn't yield the results that you want. So you say it all the time, but once you focus on these 1, 2, 3 things, consistency is so important. You got to stick with it. You got to have a routine, and sometimes it's boring, but sometimes, you know, success is boring. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but you got to fall in love with the mundane sometimes.
That's such a great way to put that. And we've heard that many times before. I like how you said it best. You got to fall in love with the mundane, but this is about repetitive boredom. Prospecting is repetitive boredom. Making the calls to your database is a repetitive boredom. Is it what you want to do every day? Absolutely not. And will you hit the nail on the head? Thank you. It's consistency. So, and remember, I think you probably caught this, but I said I did that 3.5 days a week for 3 years. And the reason I did it 3.5 days a week is because I was clamoring for a doctor's appointment that I could schedule at 9 o'clock. So I didn't have to do it. And if I could make an appointment at 9, which was when my business actually came from, that was the time frame from 8 until 11. That's where my business came from. Everything happened. And I'm here today because of between 8 and 11, I reserved those times. And folks, I did everything I could to not reserve them. I wanted to break that crap. I didn't want to do it, but I had to. It was a means to an end. Does anybody here, show of hands, people I can see, ever had a job where you had to do something you didn't like and you just muscled through it? Yeah, right. There we go. Get a lot of hands on that. All right, cool. Put your hands down. Now I want to ask one more question, and I'd love to get some feedback, because what we're going to do is we're going to help motivate each other. of the people that are currently on the call, of people that are currently in real estate, that are practicing real estate at a high level, if you were to improve your focus on 2 areas of your business maximum, and do it as if I were standing behind you for 3 hours a day, where you were focused, you had your power hours. Now, you can break them up however you want. It may be an hour of calling your database. It may be 2 hours of door knocking, maybe doing an open house on there. But if you were much more consistent, what I want to know is how much more your business would increase, in your opinion, a percentage. If you focused 4 days a week, really focused on what you know you should do, which is working on your business a little bit, improving your skills, improving your business strategies, your plans, as well as working in your business. That's the act of actually doing the lead generating process. Raise your hand if you're comfortable sharing what you think that would do to your current business if I stood behind you for 4 hours a day. Anybody brave enough to volunteer what would happen to their world? Go ahead. I see you with your hand up, Lizette. All yours, my friend.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I really do know it's very attainable for me to do 100 units a year if I just put some more focused effort on lead gen and delegating and building this team, right? Mm-hmm. So I know it's very doable. It's like sometimes, I go to my kids, I went to my kids' conference yesterday, and my son, and one of the common denominators, my kids are very comfortable. All the teachers like, oh, they have all this talent, but it seems they just want to do the minimum. And I kind of saw myself reflected a little bit, as just being honest. And sometimes, we know we have the potential, but we're not using it to our maximum.
Love it. Love it. So if we were working together, you and I were working together, and the really only reason I say you and I are working together is because imagine me standing behind your back for 4 hours a day when you're really on point, usually the morning part of your day. If I'm standing right there and you've already said, this is what I need to get done, and I'm helping hold you accountable, what would happen to your business? Would it increase or decrease?
Oh, it would. I don't know. It'll increase. It's what my kids do. I stand behind them to do their homework, and then they start getting all really good at finishing it up. I don't know what it is about human behavior, but I'm like that too. Accountability is key. Love it.
Trish just came up with something. Trish, I'm going to have you say that publicly or out loud. If you wouldn't mind, Trish, unmute and please share what you just shared and tell us what's happening.
Hey, thank you. I've actually just taken the opportunity of calling all of my past buyers, sellers, even people that, I have their numbers from coming into open houses, and either calling or texting. Calling is best, of course, just to see how they are after Ian. And nothing comes up about real estate at all. It's just a great opportunity and heartfelt. Just to see how they're doing after everything, if they had any damage, and they've been so appreciative. So it's an opportunity to turn this horrible event into it gives you a reason to call them, just see how they are. So I highly recommend everybody to do that.
I love that, Trish. And in fact, Tom just told me that he put in the GPS Global Partners public page, I believe it's the public page or the private page, a great script for just that. We were talking, as Tom and I do usually every morning, we're having a conversation, and God bless him. He's like, hey, I just put this script in there for everybody. So thanks, Trish. You're a wonderful straight person to give me the segue into that. That's awesome. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Also, y'all know how I end the calls every single day, right? It's pretty straightforward. Go out there and tell somebody you love them, tell them you care about them, that they're important. That's database 101. What you've just done, Trish, is database 101. And when I say it, it sounds like, oh, well, now it's not authentic. Actually, for me, it is. I like people. I genuinely do. My wife laughs at me all the time. We'll go somewhere. I was with my son yesterday at the doctor's office, and before we left, I had to stop and I had to go go talk to the doctor. And I told him, I said, your staff is amazing. They made everybody feel so welcome. And my son is just rolling his eyes going, Jesus, Dad, you're just, he doesn't need, you're wasting his time. I said, it's not wasting somebody's time. It's telling them the truth. And that was that their staff is great, which is a great reflection on them. And he doesn't get it, but my son's a high D with no I whatsoever. Now I'm a high I with a lot of D. So I love the engagement. And Trish, what you're doing is the best way, because it's not real estate related. It's authentically, I like you related. And that's database at the highest possible level. Pierre just dropped in what Tom put in there. Thank you very much, Pierre. That name will stick forever. That's not his real name, by the way. Someday we're going to have a Zoom, or we're going to have a call that is not recorded. It's going to be led by Pierre. In fact, Pierre, would you do next Tuesday? What's your schedule like, brother? We'll see. I'll check with him on that one. Tiffany, would you check with Pierre and see if he can handle next Tuesday? Because, well, I'm going to be in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Not drinking, by the way. And here's what we do. By the way, there's a little footnote just for anybody. If you're all coming to Las Vegas, whoever's coming to Las Vegas, hook up with me. Let me know. Let Tiffany know. Let us know that you're going to be there for the event. Here's why. I stay on Eastern Standard Time, and I get up at 5 in the morning, which is 2 o'clock in the morning in Las Vegas. Here's what I would encourage everybody to do. If you're a gambler, this won't apply to you. If you're a big drinker, this won't apply to you. If you're somebody that likes to go and stay out late, this won't apply to you. For me, I get up at 5 in the morning, 2 a.m. in Las Vegas, and I go for a 5 or 7 mile walk down the strip. There are the most wickedly funny, drunk morons out at 2 o'clock in the morning in Las Vegas Strip. It is so entertaining. I'm going to start videotaping all of this at this point. I'm going to make a collage. Vegas at 2, what idiots do. There you go. That's a YouTube channel right there. Right there. Vegas at 2. Actually, that is a YouTube channel. I'm going to write that down. Now it's a business write-off. I go to Vegas, I'm doing film, right? Huh? Just thinking about that. All right. Let's see. Could be way to increase. Roots just put in there. I feel like cold calling could be my way to increase my business. 100%. 100. I love it, Chris. Chris, please come walk with us for sure. Any form of lead generation works. The reason I showed you the lead generation, where the different lead generation options, that sheet that I was showing y'all, I would encourage you to go to gpsglobalpartners.com and then go to the links tab, which is under the more button. If you're on your computer, if you're on your phone, it's probably not going to work because I don't know how to make websites that work on phones. And you'll see in there overview of different lead generation types. It talks about how long does it take? Is it a long-term investment? Like farming is more of a long-term investment of time. It's time on task over time, full commitment. Whereas prospecting for sale by owners and expireds and withdrawals, that's right now business. They say, okay, well, I'm interested in talking to you. You stop what you're doing and you go out and meet them immediately and do the work. That's a listing that happens right away. Database, more of a long-term business strategy. You need to know what happens, but here's the thing. Everything works except for door knocking. You can't pick up business door knocking. Only one person in the world has ever done business door knocking. Yes, Liz, I know you're going to jump in and comment on that because I was baiting you for it. But here's a gentleman named Fro Candelaire, 4'7" plus or minus, Guyanese gentleman, broken English. His entire model was this. You want to sell your home? Nope. Here's my card. Call me when you do. Some of you heard me talk about this. But here's the summary of it. 800 homes a year, double-sided, 90% of them didn't use the MLS, worked a 7-block area in an area of Los Angeles, similar to Watts, but not the best area. That was his entire business model. He would door knock 3 hours a day, every single day. And his listing appointments were at 4, 4:15, 4:30, and 4:45. And you can imagine he did not run any of them. He just stopped in. He goes, oh, thank you so much for selling your home. Here's my card. Call me if you want to do it again. That's his model. Everything works. What will you work on? Once you know what that is, which is part of what we were just talking about, and once you have a goal in your mind, that's the number I got to have. Mine's 30, just so you all know. That's always been mine. And here's why. The reason it's 30 is I want icon agent. And for icon agent, I have to cap, which is about 7 or 8 homes, and then sell another 30 or another 20 homes, and I'm an icon agent. I think that's important to me. That's my number. What's yours? You should know it. The nice part, though, is actually I can get by now with 27 because my sale price has gone through the roof as everybody else's have. So I cap after 7 sales. I'm 100% from then on. And I need 20 more sales. So 27 is actually an authentic number, but I'm shooting for 30. That's what 2023 looks like to me. What does your number look like to you? Now, what do I have to do for that? I'm pretty clear. My wife and I have been going through it for the last couple of days. We will be at the business planning because when I know what my number is, business planning allows me to clear up all the extra stuff. So I have a very, very solid idea of what my world looks like. And if you all know what your world looks like, the only thing that'll get in your way is me not standing behind you, which means it's you. And you'll be normal, just like me. Hi, Nikki. Good to see you. My goals have always been 50 with that. I love that. That's perfect. Don't change it, Nikki. Go with 50. I think that's awesome. Nikki, is it official yet? Yes, no? I don't know if she's on. I know she's on somewhere. Nikki, and I'm not going to throw her under the bus. She's awesome. I had a chance to meet her a couple of weeks ago, and I'm glad she's here.
Yeah, sorry. I was on my phone. I couldn't figure out how to unmute it. I don't know.
No worries. So we're going to knock out 50 this year too. Is everything official, by the way?
Yeah, today it should be. Just got the email, so I replied to it, so it should be transferred today.
All right, true. So Nikki is married to Jay DeFalco, which means she has zero relationship except through marriage to all the other crazy DeFalcos, and we got a lot of crazy DeFalcos running around, including Jay. And finally has joined us, and we're so excited. And she sells the crap out of real estate. So you're going to sell 50 homes this year. Is your goal for 50 as well? Is that correct?
That's correct. I met it last year. I should see no reason why I can't meet it next year, as long as I work my butt off, like always.
Well, I guess when you're selling 50 homes, it's not like you have to do anything on purpose. You can kind of just wing it and shoot from the hip, I would imagine, right? I mean, basically, go to the beach in your purple Jeep and, not really work.
Well, no, but it's very important to schedule those times, because if I don't, then I won't meet my goal, because I'll be feeling burnt out and I won't want to do the work.
So of everything we talked about, forget all the crap I said. Just focus on what Nikki said, because that's really the truth. If you don't have a big calendar with your week or your year in front of you, where you know where you're going away, you know where that's going to be. If you don't have that, you are going to get burnt out. That's a really, really good point, Nikki. Thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Trish, you asked me a question and I said I'd forget it. So I'm going to come back to it. By the way, that's kind of the sum of what I wanted to cover today. I want you to know what your goals are. And I absolutely insist, with as much fever and passion as I possibly can, that you know where your business comes from. Even if you're guessing, and you know how much business comes from each particular area. In my case, it's database, 90%. What do you think I'm going to be focusing on this year to improve my business and make it even better? Database. It's going to get 90% of my working on my WAP business, working on my business. Where does yours come from? What are you going to focus on? Then jump in a business planning clinic, invest 3 hours in making sure you have a good roadmap for where you want to go. And folks, you will find that in this next year, you have more fun than you can shake a stick at, even doing the crap you don't want to do, because you feel better getting the job done. I'm going to call you out just because I can, Dina. If you don't mind, you're my prospecting person. So unmute your mic. I want to ask you real quick, just some emotional questions. So I'll give you some background. Dina focuses on prospecting. That is what her business model is. It's her primary. There's some others as well. Dina, this is pretty straightforward. When you are on point, you're prospecting and you're setting yourself up for 2 or 3 hours a day, whether you get any results from it, when you accomplish that 2 or 3 hour block and you did a good job making the calls, regardless of the outcome, do you feel positive or negative when it's over?
Oh, definitely positive.
And when you don't do that, where you only give it about 30 minutes, and now we're getting to about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I know, because she also has another job that she works as she's moving through and transitioning properly. And you only did about 20 or 30 minutes. How are you feeling? Positive or negative?
Oh, it's so negative. It really is.
The challenge. Thank you, Dina, very much. And thank you very much for being so transparent, because that's hard to say to everybody. Although remember, guys, this is agents helping agents. We're all in this together. Thank you for sharing that. I want to challenge y'all. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, whether you get the results that particular day or not, you will feel better. I felt better 3.5 days a week, plus or minus, when I get on the phone and I talk to 30 people about for sale by owners and calling their homes. And I had to call many more to get those people to answer the calls. But I felt better, regardless of whether I got a listing or not. And when the day was over, 11 o'clock in the morning, my world, I go play golf, or really what I'd end up doing is I'd work on my business at that point, what I'm giving away to for sale by owners, how I'm going to follow up with them. But my day was better doing the right thing. How is your days? If you, and don't answer this, but if you had to rate your days on a scale of 1 to 10, you can do that every day and say, how did I do? Now, remember, 5 is not very good, and I really don't have any plans for it to get better. 6, if you're rating it a 6, is not very good, but I do have a plan to make it better. You got to figure, if I'm rating my days every day, you can figure out what your day looks like. Just put it on your big calendar and put a little number by it. Heck, 1 to 5, doesn't matter. But then rate your week. How is the week? You're going to find, I believe, that you're your hardest critic. And you're probably going to beat yourself up. And I want you to celebrate successes, even small ones, because those will lead to larger ones. But you do need to have, and you do need to have a good barometer of what your days look like. Think about this. Every one of you, if you have a calendar, you say, I'm just going to do it every day. I'm going to mark down what this day was, rating it 1 to 10. And you see a 4, a 2, a 0, a 7, and a 5. And you look at this over the course of the week and you're like, oh, crud, as an average, I'm like 3.4. How is that week? Probably not your best week. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. It's in the past. Let's put it there. We can affect that information will positively, powerfully affect our future. Now I write myself a little note, or I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure I'm aware of it. I had a 3.4 week. I'm not going to let that happen. The worst case scenario, Monday and Tuesday are going to be righteously cool, where you're going to get like 7s, 8s, and 9s. You'll probably screw up on Wednesday and then get back on the horse, but now you're moving it from a 3.4 to probably a 5.5. Do you have any idea how powerful that is for your business? Do you have any idea how that impacts you long-term? If you can create a way or a discipline to change your weekly average and increase it, that's compounding. And compounding is where everything works. You're going to add momentum, which will turn out to be results. Now, I talked about this when I first got started, and I'm going to finish with this because I've got 3 minutes left before we're going to open it up. You absolutely, positively must know what you want and then plan for it appropriately. That was not what I was going to say. I completely forgot what I was going to say because the ADD kicked in and I started looking at pictures. And Jay, by the way, DeFalco, that picture with you with little stars around you is still my favorite. You got to have that one. That should be in the world too, dude. When you're walking around campus, that's how it should look. I love it. You need to know. There he is. Look at him. Big Jay. What's up, big dog? Real quick. So Jay is kind of the person I go to. I lean on him when it comes to health stuff. He's a master of fasting. Here's a little note. Jay and I met, and so actually the first time I met Nikki was with Jay at the beach. I've known of Nikki for a long time, but we had a chance to hang out at the beach. We were doing the beach thing a week ago, whatever it was. Jay, how many days into this fast are you, my brother?
Today is day 25. Absolutely no food, only water.
Water only, day 20. And to be fair, supplements, I believe. Is that correct? Salt supplements?
Yeah, just salt pills, the same ones that runners use to keep their electrolytes high. And it has potassium and all kinds of
feeling?
Things to help. Good, actually. Most days I feel pretty good. A little lightheaded every now and again, but for the most part, I feel much more agile. I feel a lot better. A lot of my aches and pains have subsided quite a bit. I mean, when I exercise, it goes up a little bit, but, doing really good. Feel a whole lot better about being me.
I love it. So there are days that are good days and days that are bad days and everything you were going to do. I just brought that up because it just blows me away. He's literally 26 days with not a bite of food in his system and healthy as a horse. Everybody's like, oh, you can't do that. Well, yeah, actually you can. So Jay, thank you for sharing that. That was completely selfish of me. Let's wrap this part up and turn it into the after party and open up for any conversations. Trisha, you had something you wanted we needed to talk about. I don't remember what it was. If you're on, Trisha, let's cover that.
I just wanted to talk about the ever-changing market that we're in and wanting to know the group's feedback. How often are you doing pricing adjustments on your listings? I've got one listing in particular driving me crazy. And it's a condo down in Haines City. It's priced appropriately. It's the lowest priced, 2-bedroom, second floor condo in this community of Greenleaf, which is, I'm getting into the weeds, but if we have any suggestions as to how we help each other. Pricing adjustments, I just told my owner, I'm like, it's time to do another pricing adjustment, but we're already lowest, but we're not getting any bites. By the way, this community is non-warrantable, so that means lending is extremely difficult, so it's cash. My question is just to confirm, price cures all, always. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, all right. So this is kind of off topic because not on what I was focusing on, but I do want to tell you what I would do in a situation like this. And y'all hold on to this one because this is going to be pretty valuable. If I'm doing a map search, let's say this is, you can see me, I'm hoping I'm on there, and this is my map and my property's right there. And this is my community. In this case, if it's condominiums, it doesn't matter the exact number because this is an example for everybody, Tricia. So I don't need to know if I'm right or wrong on this. But let's say there's 100 condominiums in this area, or 100 homes or 100 townhomes, doesn't really matter. I want to do a search around those, and I want to know if anything, I mean anything, has sold, gone pending while my property was on the market, because that tells me we lost a buyer. They were looking in the area, they were looking for a similar property, and we didn't get that buyer. How come? Now, if it's a single family home and the one that went pending is a 3,500 and I'm a 2,000 square foot, I'm not really concerned about that one. But if there's another 22 or 2,500 square foot home that went pending, how come and why not mine? And these are the conversations you have to have with your seller clients. They need to understand we just lost a sale. This one went under contract. It was $20,000 less than yours, and it had a pool. The next one that fits this, looking at all the ones that are active, are going to be this other one that has a pool and is $10,000 less than yours. That one's going to sell before yours, and it's going to sell for a lower price, which is going to pull your price down because the price is in a diminishing market. These are just some strategies. We cover this in how to work with sellers. That's part of the Emerging Agent series. But what I would do, Tricia, I'm going to be looking around. If it were me, I would say I'm going to do a search around that. And what has gone under contract when I was on the market? And if you see something that's gone under contract, that's the conversation you need to have with your client. And also have that conversation, what's the next home that's going to sell? And that's not hard to do either. Y'all think about this. I'm pulling up my property on the MLS. I'm pulling up the next property on the MLS. I look at them side by side. I open up the pictures on this one. Mine looks okay. This one looks really nice. Mine's priced at $304. This is priced at $299. There's no question. This one's going to sell before mine. That's the conversation I have with my seller. Are you comfortable that this one has to sell before yours becomes the best price? And unfortunately, it's probably going to be for a little bit less is where yours is going to sell. Or we can beat the person to that price. That's what I would do. That's how I do it all the time. Does that help, Trish? Hope it does.
Oh, yeah. I just love the affirmation because I'm constantly fine-tuning and wanting to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And in your example is exactly what I've done. And there hasn't been any sales. Like it's as if in this particular community, and it's an aged community.
Okay, well, hold on one second. Real quick, Trish, I got to jump in on this one. When you're looking at the other homes that are active on the market, is there one that's going to sell before yours? Yes or no?
No, we're priced. Let me quantify.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this because we're diving deep into.
We can talk about it someplace else. Yeah.
Let's dive in. Let's do that because it's got to be what's best for everybody on this one. Pierre, you had your hand up. I hope I didn't lose him.
No, Trish, I mean, I get a couple ideas for you. One, obviously, and I'll post it in here a second. Pull the stats, feedbacks, all of those other things. Change a little bit of the description in your MLS, add a couple of new pictures in. You'll actually get a bump by doing nothing. So try that this week. We're also going to be in Florida here. We're going to be in a very odd position for the next, I'll say, couple of weeks. And for condos specifically with SB4 bill that just came in, people are starting to understand about the fully funding requirements. So you might, I'm not sure if price reduction is going to do it right now. I would say probably hold tight and try a couple of our other tricks.
I'm with you. Thank you, Robert. Pierre. I appreciate that. I think that's exactly the right strategy. And real quickly, So if nothing else is selling, I mean, nothing else is selling and you're the best priced home in there, wait, the market's just not interested in your properties right now in the general area. If something is selling, use that as information and have the conversation with your clients. Pierre, if we don't record anything next week, would you lead a class if we don't have it anywhere except you have to be live on it on Tuesday?
I thought we were trying to coordinate for a in-person class, George.
Oh, I'd love to do that. That'd be the bomb.com. Well, why don't you and I touch base on that this afternoon? And I'm sorry with the hurricane, I dropped the ball on getting back to you on this one, but let's definitely touch base this week or today.
You know what it takes. Just do it.
Right, just do it. I'm down on that.
Wait,
all right.
Wait. I have a wait.
Yeah.
George.
Yes, sir.
If I was standing behind you with a mallet, how much would your business increase?
Okay, so if you ask my wife, she'd say 150%. If you ask me, 200%. It's unbelievable, myself included, how much I don't do what I absolutely know I should do. And I am as guilty as everybody on this call. Now, that doesn't give you a get out of jail free, everybody. It simply means that nobody's perfect. And the people that are going to be the most successful, in this case, just calling it out, let's use Nikki DeFalco with her 50 units she's going to do again, are because she is disciplined and on point. Now, I say Nikki only because she threw out a number that I think all of us aspire to. 50 is a great number of homes sold. So using her as an example, I'm positive her discipline is stronger than mine. Her focus on what she must do is stronger than mine. Chances are it's stronger than y'all's as well. For me, I have to be more on point and I get distracted constantly. So it's something I focus on and I work on aggressively. My mission is to just blow up this year. And it started 3 days ago. All right, let's see.
George, thanks for the honesty on that one.
Oh, it was brutal, man. That one hurt. I can't believe you'd throw that shit out at me on my birthday today. That's just crazy.
But you know, if you were standing behind me, I have the same problem.
No,
I'm very distracted.
I'm kidding, dude. You can do that anytime you want to. I am subject to the same thing. Remember, guys, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be good. And every day get a little better. 1% per day changes the entire trajectory of your year. Isn't that crazy? Think about it. If you do 1% improvement on your business, if you focus 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day working on your business, and we're going to say for the next 90 days where I'm just going to commit it. I've got 30-day block or 30-day window, 30-minute window every day. And I work on my business and you figure out what you want to work on ahead of time. That 30 minutes invested into your business over the course of the next 3 months, meaning by the end of December, let's say you wanted to have the best database management business in the world or the best database management business and for sale by owner business. You're going to have the perfect 8-week drop off at a FSBO. You're going to have the perfect database where you're doing everything right. It's scheduled. You've got your micro parties. You know what to do on the 1st of the month, what to do on the 15th. Every day, there's certain things you have to do. Your business would be at such a high level. You've got them all tagged appropriately so you can literally send out to your database zip code oriented information. I'm where I live in Central Florida. We have the 4th Friday of each month is food trucks. Okay, there's 5 zip codes that should get a message from me saying, "Hey, food trucks, we're going." Mine don't work that way. But if they did, wouldn't that be great that I know on the 3rd Friday of each month I send out food trucks are next week. Let's meet up there. I'll be there. Come stop by. I'll give you a glass of wine. Doesn't matter if they see me or not. What matters is I'm communicating on purpose and I've got an idea behind it. Do y'all think about this? What can you do to improve your business? 30 minutes a day will do it. I promise you, your business will change. All right. Liz, faux pas. It was a slip. Holly, same thing. Y'all stop it. All right. Smart ass. Hold on to that one. I almost let that one slip out. That's all I got. That's it. I'm done. I got nothing else. We'll turn it into the after party. Tiff, I think we're